Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ow. Talk to him. I mean, sometimes you got people going against you and you just gotta go above and beyond all that. Let's go. Straight up the top, just so you know ain't no stopping us. Yeah, I see you been watching us. You could.
Hey everybody, it's Justin, aka Facetats McGee. Decided I'm gonna do something new, and we're gonna just start doing a daily vlog. So welcome to the life and times of Facetats McGee. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about my history and everything that has to go along with that. Kind of give you a little bit of an insight into what I'm all about and why I am the way I am. So born in Salt Lake City, Utah. Had a lot of pretty decent opportunities growing up. I was raised by my grandparents because my parents were too young to be able to take care of me. So my grandparents took out over from there. So fortunately, Grandpa was an alcoholic. There was a lot of problems that did come along with that. I didn't really want for food to eat, but there was definitely some problems with alcohol abuse and abuse in general in the house. A lot of wild stuff happened to me when I was a kid. And that, of course, ended up playing itself out in my teenage years because, let's be honest, when most of us become teenagers, that's when we start acting out, trying to figure out what our place is in the world. And apparently I thought my place was just to be a fuck-up. So, I mean, that's essentially what I did for quite some time, in and out of, relationship after relationship. I mean, to say drug abuse would probably be an understatement. I think I could probably easily say that I tried to stop the war on drugs by getting all of them and then doing them. That's nothing to be proud of, guys, but it gives you an insight into who I am and what I am. So when I was 18 years old, I got my first tattoo, and I was so pumped on the experience. It was mind-blowingly cool to me. Nobody in my family had tattoos. There was like one uncle that really hadn't been around too much. So immediately, I mean, I was kind of a black sheep status. I literally hid it from my family for almost 2 years before anybody found out I had any tattoos. And when I got that tattoo, I remember watching the first line get pulled. It was this guy right here, this little skull with the gear right there. Pat Delvar did it. And when I watched that first line get pulled, I'll tell you what, it was like love at first sight. I immediately knew that this was something I wanted to do, and I was blown away with how rad it was to be able to actually modify our body in a way that was permanent. And I know a lot of people worry about tattoos because they're like, well, that's permanent, bro. What if I don't like it? And I am of the opinion that there's few things in life that are permanent. And what an amazing way to carry your mindset and your concept and your history with you than to have something that actually is relatively permanent on your body, as impermanent as life might be. Not to mention, too, that, for all we all know, our life could end tomorrow. So I encourage people to make the decisions that make them happy every day and do those things. So to continue on, though, the guy I got my first tattoo from told me, well, I didn't do an apprenticeship, and I feel like I'm doing pretty well. So here's a couple of websites that you can go get some equipment on. God bless his heart. I love the man. I probably wasn't ready to start like that, especially artistically. I thought I had a lot better handle on drawing and art than I did. Clearly I've used art as a coping mechanism throughout my life when I'm experiencing difficult times or having really difficult to process emotions. Definitely when I have the really hard times in my life, I tend to produce a lot more art. So I think we can easily say that I use it as an outlet. But the thing is that when people get into art as kids, what I've noticed is that everybody just wants to encourage them, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. Encouragement is always good, but you don't get a lot of realistic encouragement. Everybody just says, oh, it's amazing. Nobody ever says, hey, you're doing good. Here's some ways you can improve. And so what happens is we produce these kids and these people that think that what would be considered by most of the art community to be something that's maybe half finished or half rendered, or had half an effort put into it, or maybe in some cases half of the artistic education that goes along with it to be able to make something look a particular way. And I'll draw this distinction in that no matter how amazing and no matter how much we love our kids' art, you're never going to see your kids' finger paintings up next to the Mona Lisa. It's not going to happen. It doesn't hold the same oomph, and it doesn't have the same history, especially not the same experiences that artist had to be able to produce something like that. So I didn't really know what I was doing, was the moral of that story. And I went and ordered my tattoo kit, and I thought $170 was a ton of money at the time. It's not even close. Like, I own a machine right now that is 4 or 5 times what that whole kit was worth. And I proceeded to screw me and my friends up over and over and over again for probably about 5 years, until I started getting the hang of it just a little bit. And a little tattoo shop that doesn't exist anymore in Salt Lake City, it was a biker shop, had a really, really toxic mentality. Unfortunately, a lot of the tattoo industry has a really toxic mentality too. And it was awesome because it was where I got my start. And, you know, I don't think I'd be where I am now if that hadn't happened. I don't know if I would have kept going, or I don't know what a lot of things are. I just know that I felt so blessed to have somebody actually take me in. My working apprenticeship, what I got was basically getting put in a corner and say, try not to fuck people up. And, you know, that was about as far as it went. There was a few lessons here and there, but I learned a lot more of what not to do than what to do. And through that process, the cool thing is I met some really rad tattooers that helped me really humble myself down and realize how much I did have to learn. And the more I've been able to do that, the more I've been able to humble myself down and realize that there's always more to learn, the further along I've gotten. So with art, I sat and floundered for almost 10 full years, struggling and just not making it how I was hoping to in a career that was supposed to be my freedom. It was supposed to be the thing that really freed me in such a way to be able to take time with my family and to be able to do the things that I wanted to do with my kids and to have the financial and personal freedom to make my own schedule and my own life ahead of me. And that wasn't happening. And, you know, throughout this whole process, I struggled with using still. I was having a lot of really hard times taking accountability. And eventually, my baby's mom moved out here to Kentucky, and I decided I was going to pack everything up and come across the country too and start all over. And my whole life has changed since then. I was able to reinvent myself as a person and reinvent who and what I wanted to be in a way that's been so powerful I can't even begin to really like try to describe it in a way that I feel like it would convey the heaviness that has happened in my life and how amazing it's been. And since then, in January of 2018, I was homeless, living in somebody else's house in Moorhead. And since then, I have a really nice apartment with all the amenities, got a couple of motorcycles, a car, and most importantly, I've managed to open my own business. I now own a tattoo shop out here in Sharkey, technically a Moorhead address here in Kentucky, and I couldn't be more thrilled with how things are going. And for the first time in my life, I don't wake up, even as a tattoo artist, I don't wake up and I'm not like frustrated about what I have to deal with. I'm not scared about what the future will bring, and I'm more excited than ever to see what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And it's all happened because I chose to believe in myself. And so this is essentially just an introduction to who I am and this whole video log format. And so I wanted to do this every day, and we're just going to talk about my thoughts about the world, the tattoo industry, and anything else you can imagine. You know, old Facetats McGee's got lots of opinions. So if they make you feel some type of way when I'm talking about them, tell me about it in the comments. Hate on me, I don't care. I'm not going to hurt my feelings, I promise. People have said a lot of mean shit to me over the years. None of it worked. So if you like it, tell me about it in the comments too. If you feel like this is rad and you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, do that too. In fact, I'm not even going to say if you want to. I'm going to say just go ahead and do it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check these out daily in my tattoo shop, and also on my Facebook pages, Justin Hadlock and Justin Hadlock Tattoos and Fine Arts. My Instagram is Facetats McGee. This is me signing off, essentially, and I just want to remind everybody that anything is possible in your life as long as you are willing to put the effort in, believe in yourself, and set the goals to make it happen. Excuse me there. You can't just make goals and not chase them, and you can't just chase things without goals. If you do that, you're never going to make anything happen. You need to be willing to be organized, and you need to be willing to believe in yourself and then follow through and take action on those things. And if you do, I promise you, you can achieve anything you want. I do try to stay positive on all this stuff. So on the biggest note of gratitude, I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for checking out my origin story. We'll finish this out with the final thing is throughout all this toxicity here in the tattoo industry and all the things that I experienced, all the negativity, all the difficulties, I decided to start investing my time in myself and choosing what I wanted to do. And since then, I've started dropping away all of the negative concepts that were taught to me over the years and all these logical fallacies and all of these things that the tattoo industry just kind of moves forward on, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I know a lot of other tattooers out there have struggled with these things, and if they're honest, would probably be willing to admit that they don't understand how a lot of this stuff works or why some of these people are so crab mentality. Look that up. I promise you, you'll be kind of blown away with what it means, crab mentality. Anyway, so thank you so much. Again, we started my shop out here to break free of all that stuff, challenge the norm, and really get out there. And this is Facetats McGee signing off. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Excuse me for the long format on this first one. We'll probably get better at it.
Nah, ain't no stopping us when you gotta want it. You know my team want it. You know my team want it. You ain't no stopping us.